I am honored to stand here today and to announce my candidacy for Attorney General of the state of New York with the support of this incredible coalition, this incredible, diverse, progressive coalition of leaders. This is a group of the greatest leaders in our state. We're very lucky to have you representing us. We're very lucky for you to be making the sacrifice that goes into public life. I am humbled by your support. And quite simply, I'm running for Attorney General of the state of New York because in my view, there's no higher calling than the pursuit of justice. Equal justice, regardless of race, religion, gender, or sexual orientation. Independent justice without regard to political or special interest. And progressive justice is a critical element, taking an activist approach to pushing the envelope and protecting everyday New Yorkers. So my goal is not to preserve the status quo. That is not the goal of my campaign. That is not my vision for this office. My goal is for greater office, for more equality, for pursuing the essential American ideal of equal justice under law for all the citizens of our great state. And Martin Luther King famously said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere," and that is a sentiment that has guided me throughout my career. I saw injustice in our drug laws for decades. They were not only unfair and unsustainable, but posed a moral and economic threat to every New Yorker. I saw injustice in the way the MTA was mishandling our money, threatening hardworking New Yorkers' ability to get to work and to make ends meet. And I saw injustice when a former colleague assaulted his partner and continued to serve as an elected official, undermining the institution and integrity of government as a whole. From my earliest days as a lawyer, my motivation has been a pursuit of fairness. In fact, even before I was a lawyer, as someone mentioned, I started my career as a deputy sheriff in Massachusetts, where I started the first drug and alcohol treatment. And order.
Not with this group.
So yeah, it's great being Democrats. I did finish my work as a deputy sheriff, went to law school, came back, was a law clerk in the federal court, went into private practice, eventually becoming a partner in a major law firm. So I know that side of the law, I know the business world. But while I was practicing law, I also represented local community groups and developed innovative legal strategies to help them get out drug dealers, shut down crack houses, and eventually I went on to recruit and train other private lawyers to help people protect their neighborhoods from crime. And the then Attorney General's office brought me in to train others and set up a program just to help with the crack epidemic. I defended access to reproductive rights in clinics when they were threatened by Operation Rescue and other anti-choice extremists, and I was the lead attorney in a series of major cases for the Nyberg Strap Hangers campaign against the MTA. Eventually, I realized that my heart was really in public interest work, and I ran for the state Senate. I really ran when my partners realized that my heart was in public interest work and stopped billing my clients. But nonetheless, I ran for the state Senate about 11 years ago. I was elected as a reformer and have fought for change ever since, even when the Senate's leaders cut off my office supplies and tried to redistrict me out of a job. And as your next Attorney General, I commit to you that I will continue to pursue equal justice, independent justice, and progressive justice. So let me just say a few words about my vision for the office. Equal justice, which is a guiding principle for me and should be the guiding principle for the Attorney General, means there is not one set of rules for the powerful and another set for everyone else. Investor fraud, mortgage fraud, insurance industry abuses are ripping off New Yorkers in every corner of the state. And as a legislator, I've worked to pass a host of anti-fraud and consumer protection laws. As Attorney General, I will enforce them. The current economic crisis presents an opportunity that we can't let go to waste. We're fortunate to have Andrew Cuomo as our Attorney General now, who has led the way in protecting working families against banks, insurance companies, and big corporations. Next January, I believe our state will also be fortunate enough to have Andrew Cuomo in the executive mansion, and I look forward to working with him. But building on his record as Attorney General, I'm going to take on corrupt corporations when they engage in crooked practices in a very aggressive, proactive way. I'm not going to play whack-a-mole when it comes to businesses that break the law. I will fight them, and I will work to achieve systemic reforms. Second, I will have an office that embodies the principle of independent justice. And independent justice means that I will dedicate myself to rooting out corruption without regard to political or special interest influence. I believe that as Democrats, as the party that has faith in the public sector, that believes the public sector is an engine for good, as I do, that we have to be the harshest critics of corruption, fraud, and waste in the government. And I have lived up to this and worked for it every day in the Senate. I've been a leader in the effort to change the culture of corruption in Albany, sponsoring and passing rules reforms and the most sweeping ethics reforms in a generation. As Attorney General, I will fight to restore transparency, honesty, and accountability throughout the public sector to give New Yorkers the government they deserve. That's why I will put a public integrity officer in every regional office in the Attorney General's network to ensure that we have the proper watchdogs over state institutions and over local governments. And finally, I have a deep commitment to progressive justice, which means taking an activist approach to our legal system. It means seizing this opportunity to transform the criminal justice system in this state and in our country. And as Attorney General, I will advance a smart on crime agenda to keep our streets safe and our communities whole. We've learned a lot about public safety since I was a deputy sheriff 30 years ago. We know a lot about how to keep people safe, but we also know that our 3-decade-long experiment with mass incarceration is a failure and must be ended. I'm going on too long? Okay. Everyone needs a teenager. As I was saying, there's something wrong, clearly wrong, and I'll leave it at this. When a country has 5% of the world's population and 25% of the world's prisoners, we know that incarcerating our way out of this problem doesn't work. When no one said we could do it, I fought to and finally repealed the Rockefeller drug laws. We've fought to pass the toughest laws in the country against drunk driving, and I, along with my colleagues and Liz Krueger and Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson, who couldn't be here this morning, are leading the effort to strengthen our laws on domestic violence to make New York the strongest state in the country when it comes to the one area of crime that has grown while all other types of crime have decreased. As Attorney General, I'm going to use the most innovative, high-tech mechanisms available when it comes to public safety, including a multi-state effort to get illegal guns off our streets. I will form a I-95 coalition of state attorneys general so that we can track the guns running up the iron pipeline into our streets and share the And I will establish for the first time in the Attorney General's office an Office of Actual Innocence to ensure that we never lock up an innocent man or woman while the real criminals go. So I understand that there's a lot of public frustration out there, and actually, us reformers, we kind of like it when the public is a little bit agitated. People are sick of a political system that's driven by well-connected lobbyists and special interests, and more centrally, they are disillusioned by an economic system that has one set of rules for the powerful and another set for everyone else, where you can lose a ton of money and get bailed out while other people lose their jobs and get nothing. People are beaten down by this financial crisis that has devastated communities, upstate and down, and left confidence in our institutions, both in the public and private sectors, at an all-time low. But I take a longer view, and I urge all of my colleagues, and I have a lot of visionary colleagues here today, I urge that everyone has to take a longer view. We have the opportunity now to set a progressive example here in New York State and show the rest of the country what's best for America. This is not about small ideas. This is not a time for sitting on the sidelines or going along to get along. This is the time for innovation and for thinking big. For reformers, for innovators, for those of us who believe in progress, this is our moment. And as the late, great Ted Kennedy said, for all my years in public life, I've believed that America must sail towards the shores of liberty and justice for all. There is no end to that journey, only the next great voyage. Today marks the beginning of my journey to the Office of Attorney General, and when I get there, I assure all of you, I will work for justice each and every day. Thank you very much.